Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Okay, very honest question for parents right now. Do you ever feel that you're just not doing a great job as a parent? You basically suck as a parent sometimes. You make decisions, you're just not with the confidence you should have. And or you come to those situations where you feel you're not being a great parent, so then you make up for it in other ways by giving your kids something or allowing them to do something or just overcompensating over here when you really didn't need to. We're going to look at that today and address all of that. And she helps parents who feel they're not worthy all the time. She should be on your speed dial. This woman has a lock on it. Parenting 911 is is what I call her. That's how we refer to her. Frazelma Lynn joins us today. Welcome back. How you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. And I'm so glad that we're talking about this because I've seen it in myself from time to time. I see it in friends.
Mhm.
You never want to get in the way, but
Right.
I could give you examples, and maybe I will in a little while of friends and what I've seen them do. But is this one of the most common things that you hear from parents?
Yes, it is very, very common for parents to overcompensate
Mm,
for so many different reasons. Some because of their work schedule, and so they're spending so much time away
yep.
from home or away from their children. Some it's the guilt of having to send their child to daycare. And then they try to overcompensate whenever they are, in their child's presence. Some because they never had mom or dad there to model for them
Mm,
what it looks like to be a good parent. So they're just trying to figure it out day by day, move by move. And they're doing so much more than they need, and many times wearing themselves out and wearing out their bank account in the meantime.
Yes, you have identified a number of things there that we should really dig into. Okay, let's start with a parent feeling they're not good enough, not doing a great job, but it's not entirely their fault because that's what they saw in some regards from their parents. Not taking anything away from them, that's what they learned, generational along the way. And then you have those challenges where a parent has been through a lot, maybe a broken household when they were younger, and maybe now they're into their second marriage, and then things aren't going the way they wanted it to, and they say, "I'm never going to do that again. I am going to be the parent. I'm going to parent my child the way I wanted or feel I should have been." But sometimes it's not your fault. You may enter into a relationship where it didn't work out, even though you wanted it to for the best for your kids, and it just didn't work out. That's the way it is, and you need to accept that. Um, as long as you're given love and that empathy and caring to your kids, how do you know when you're doing enough? Let's go there. How do you know?
So let's go with how do you know when your children are happy? Because oftentimes we do all of this extra and the children end up not being happy. Now and then we have a meltdown because we've tried, everything we could think of. But we've got to really focus on what makes the child happy, not necessarily just what makes us happy, because we're basing that on what happened in our childhood.
Right.
Well, that's a totally different scenario than where you are right now. And your child has a totally different perspective, personality, love language, all of that. So we have to make sure we look at what makes our child happy. Here's a scenario. So the parents are asking their children, elementary age children, what did they want for birthdays? All right. And so one of them said, I just want to go to the park. Can we have, a gathering, a cookout, just the family? Go to the park, spend the day at the park, cook some, burgers or what have you, and just have fun. The parents said, "Oh, no, no, we can do that any Saturday, anytime. We don't want to do that for your birthday. It's special. We want to do something big and grand, so you can remember your birthday." But if that's what the child wanted, why not just do that? We also have to realize our children, they are born with this way of simplicity about them.
Mm,
Usually we are the ones that make things complicated. Mm.
mm.
So tr- just study your children. I've said that over and over. Study them. They will let you know what they need, what they want, what makes them happy, what their purpose in life is. All of that is in them if we study them.
Do you think it's out of guilt at that moment where your kid is saying, I'm good, this is it? And then you're like, no, no, I got to give you more. I got to do more.
Sometimes it's out of guilt. Sometimes it's out of who we're trying to impress. Because in conversations after that, when people say, well, what did you all do for your child's birthday? Many parents don't want to say, well, we just went to the park and hung out all
No.
day.
Hmm.
You see how that sounds? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that reason is not just out of what happened with them. Sometimes it's out of what's going to follow, the conversations that are coming, and the looks that you'll get if that's all you did.
I'll be honest with you. My daughter on Saturday turned 16
Mhm.
and she's with me. And I said, what do you want to do? I said, do you want a party? Do you, even if it's, she's, it doesn't have, just hang with a lot of friends. She like just has a few that she likes to be around. I said, do you want to go into the city? Do
Mhm.
you want to do, I'll do whatever you want. No, she wanted to hang out with one very special close friend and she wanted a new iPad. And I will say the iPad was, kind of expensive, but it's like, that's what you want. Then I got that. Uh, on the back end, I'm thinking I got off easy. It's her 16th and I have to a party. But if she wanted one, no problemo. But that's what she wanted. And I didn't push it, but I gave her all the options.
Mhm.
That being said, is it up to the child? Should you, let's say your child isn't happy and you know that you've done everything you can. And they just, they come back and they present themselves as not being happy. And I'm talking older, let's say older kids, maybe teens, tweens and teens.
Mhm.
What do you do at that point? Or do you just say, you know what? I can't do it all. There has to be some personal responsibility as a young or soon to be young adult. You got to be there too.
Mhm. Absolutely. So I commend you because you asked her. You did not just decide for her. You did not just spring on her what you thought would be great. You asked her. And children want to be heard. They want you to know what they're feeling. They want to be asked. Usually, when the children are not happy, it's because nobody asked them anyway.
Point. Hmm. And that's
But
everything. That's everything. Yeah.
that's absolutely everything. Remember, they'll tell us what they want or feel they need. And so oftentimes we dismiss that thinking we know better. Okay. But honest, just listen to them.
What if it's a situation where you're not getting feedback? Example, I'll go, classic daily example. What do you want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? And I don't know. You could be an adult and be saying that to your partner.
Exactly.
I don't know what I want. I don't know. And now you have to step in. You have to make that decision. Um, and then you make that decision, and then your child is like, I don't want that. Where do you go with that?
Right. So you give them the option, but when they say I don't know, that's just because right then at that moment they haven't really thought about it. You know how someone springs a question on you and you hadn't really had time to think about it.
Fair
So
enough.
usually that answer is coming immediately. But then say, okay, so take a few minutes, think about it. I'll give you 10 or 15 minutes. Just think about what you think might be a good option for dinner tonight. Let's talk about it because now once I go in there and we prepare or we buy something, that's what's for dinner. Now, yeah, you might decide I don't want that and you choose to go and get a bowl of cereal, fine. But I'm giving you the opportunity right now. Let's discuss it. Think about it 10 minutes. Let me know what you come up with.
All right, so that's reasonable. You give them a deadline. All right, you don't know what you want. I'm going to give you until 4:30, 3:30 to tell me what
Right.
you want. If not, then I'm going to make the decision. And because we need to come up with something for dinner tonight. I love that. So it's you set the expectation.
Always. Always.
Hmm.
Always. What happens in so many um situations, the parent gets caught up in the emotion, the impulsivity, the stress of life, all of that, and they turn something that's very tiny into something that's very huge, making a big deal out of nothing, so to speak. But if we would just calm down and be reasonable, be reasonable. So what if your child says, I just want cotton candy, ice cream, then say, well, we can have one of those things, but not all. It's not healthy. I mean, just be reasonable.
Hmm.
And it helps calm things down in your home.
But
Okay.
you also allow the child to be empowered because they made a decision. One of those five things, they made a decision, and you can have that after you have dinner, which is
Exactly.
consist of mac and cheese or something healthy, whatever the decision is.
Exactly.
How
I like the word empowerment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
what are you doing? And this is somebody I know very closely, single mom. Her kids are I want to say 7 and 12, somewhere around there,
Mhm.
7 and 12. Father out of the picture for I would have to say at least 6 years, and just disappeared. Some circumstances not in the kid's life. She's a great mom. I feel almost to the point of overdoing it in terms of their activities. I'll say, "What are you up to? What are you doing?" Well, I just drove here, dropped that one off. Then I gotta go there. I'm gonna pick him up, and then we have, lacrosse later. Then there's soccer, and then oh, all right. Well, what are you doing tomorrow? What's going on? I don't even say you want to get together and have go grab dinner. Oh, I can't because I got this one has a birthday party, and then that one blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
I know that she overdoes it out of guilt
Mhm.
because she's trying to be two parents in one.
Exactly.
And they may be happy doing half of that and just doing their own thing at home.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
what do you do in that? And I can't, I've tried to drop hints, but then I stop. That's not my place. She wants to
Right.
do that. That's fine. But,
Right.
as a parent, how do you look at that? Maybe parents are listening and maybe they're doing that, and
Exactly, exactly. So that's one of those areas, as you said, overdoing things, and out of guilt, just trying to fill up all the moments, with doing everything. Now, great parenting is when we expose our children to the best of the best. Yes. However, we can't do all of that at one time. We have to spread the love out because they also need time to just sit down and think, sit down and talk. When are you going to have a conversation? When will you relax together and bond together? And usually, when we're doing all of that, we're tired, but we like being able to tell others, oh, my child is in this, 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 this. Oh, yeah, and we do that and that and that. And Right. However, your child is going to get to the point where they're tired too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes they'll just say, can I just not be in something? I'm tired. I want to spend time with my friends. I just want to hang out. And then that's usually when the light bulb goes on for many parents and they realize they're doing entirely too much. Everything has to be done in moderation. Everything, even the scheduling you do for them, moderation, because they will get burned out, worn out, and when they get older, won't want to do any of that.
Hmm. Then you have the challenge where you're doing all of that and your kid ain't going to say something because they don't want to hurt you because they think that that's what you want. So they're just going to keep going. And then at some point, you as a parent's going to look at them and say, why are you so cranky? What's, come on, you scored a goal last week. Why can't you do it again?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have to think about it. As I tell some parents, when you organize your schedule, look at your calendar. I mean, if it's so full that you don't have time to rest and relax, no time for self, that means the children don't have time for themselves either.
Point.
You have too much in there.
How do you enable? That's word
Mm.
I have. Your kids, boy, as soon as I said that word, you were on guard. How do you enable your kids to be self sufficient and happy within themselves? I'm going to give a personal example. My childhood. My parents got divorced when I was very young. You know, when I got bullied, went through, lots of stuff. I made myself happy by drawing. It was my happy spot. I would draw cartoons. I almost became a syndicated cartoonist, later in life in my early 20s. I also wanted to be on the radio. So what would I would do? I didn't have any money, single mom. I would make I would make things to broadcast, if you will. I didn't have a microphone. I ripped it out of a cassette player and I made it. When I got to be like 13, 14, taught myself electronics, even made PC boards, built myself a mixer so I could do this thing, even would sneak into my twin sister's room when she wasn't home and take her turntable because I needed two to be a DJ. We'd get yelled at. It was a big deal. I eventually made cassette tapes. And when I was 17, I got a job at the biggest radio station in the New York area
Mhm. Mhm.
because I wanted it. And I was still drawing cartoons at the same time. But that's how and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Far from it. I'm not a great parent. I struggle with it. I wish I knew now then, but I kept myself happy. I found those happy things to look forward to. How do you do that for your kids? How do you show them, if they're just sitting home on a device and they've got creativity and they've got things going on that they could find some happy spots. How do you enable, how do you encourage?
So, first of all, study them, please.
Mm,
Study the children because you need to know what they enjoy doing, what gives them that joy and happiness, like your drawing did for you. You found that happy spot. So study them and then encourage the things they enjoy. I just listening to another podcast a few days ago, the gentleman said he played his first instrument at school. He was 9. And now, I mean, it's amazing the things that he has done. All right. So when we study them,
mm,
support the things that we see they enjoy. Now, what we tend to do sometimes is if that thing is not our thing, then we tear it down.
yeah.
Okay. Because that's not the thing we want them to do or we like. But that's not about us, parents. It's about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
so
got
when
it.
you support that thing and you help find the tutor, the teacher, the instrument, the whatever, that's going to help that child find and know their happy place.
Mm,
And we all need that place.
gotcha. Yeah, it's true. You got to read them. I have my son just turned 18, going to college this year. Always been into video games. I'm not. I'm a geek. By the way, I said I used to build, equipment and everything. Everything in the studio, I wired and put together myself. Could I hire somebody? Of course. I do it myself. I love it.
Mhm.
He's into video games. I'm not. I can't even play them. I just can't. It's just like I can't. But I enable him with that, like buying him he needed a small solid state hard drive that was a little bit bigger, nominal cost. I guess I got it for him, whatever. Um, he's going to study cyber security.
Oh,
That
wow.
so while all along those years, I'm like, I don't want to play Mario Kart. I want to be with my son and do fun stuff. I don't want to play Mario Kart, but I would help. I would encourage it, and then
Yes.
it turned into that. You're right. You have to look at them.
Purpose. That's his
Purpose.
purpose.
Yeah.
And we miss the purpose of our children being here on this earth because many times it's not our purpose. And because we don't know it and we don't like it and we can't do it, we miss their purpose so often.
Because I believe most times we feel inferior and we
Mm,
want to be I know exactly what you're doing. I'll help you with that. So then we kind of put it to the side because it's not our thing. And then it just goes bad
yes.
because it's theirs. And you have to look at whatever it is that's bringing them some joy. Now, granted, if they're on their device, 22 hours out of 24,
Yeah.
not the best thing. So you
Exactly.
got to find some other stuff in there. You are really the voice of reason, Frazelma. You really are. You look at all situations and see things for what they are. And many of us, we're deep in the weeds. We're deep in the trenches as parents, and there's emotion mixed in with that, and we don't see it.
That's exactly right. My oldest aunt was 99.9 years old when she passed. She taught us so many things just talking. She loved children. And she said, just remember, children still come here the same way they always have. So the children haven't changed so much, but parenting has. And
Mm.
we have to take the time to just study, talk, spend time, bond, calm down, think about the steps, think about what we're doing, think about why our family is even here and what they mean. And those are the things I carry with me when I'm talking to parents always.
Bless you and her. And in my journey, I see that we're all the same. When we're born, I don't care what ethnic group you're from, it doesn't matter. We're blank slates in the beginning,
Baby is
and
a baby.
baby is a baby.
Mhm.
And, we have different personalities and such, but a lot of that gets shaped by their parents. And, you know, maybe unfortunately, maybe it's not the best thing, but it's often not the parents' fault because that's what they knew. And then the parent before that, that's what they knew, and it's generational. But maybe talking with you, we can learn some of those things to maybe make some tweaks along the way there. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Because this is for you and your family.
yeah.
Your parents did what they felt they needed to do for their family. And so oftentimes we try to replicate that, but it may not work for you and your family. So we have to learn how to make adjustments.
You're much more than a parenting coach. You're like a parenting savior. You
Oh,
are
wow.
for generations, though. That's the thing. Like you said, it's for your family to maybe get this stuff a little more right.
Yeah.
There's maybe no wrongs, but you can make it a little more right by learning these. Again, if I knew back in the day, and my oldest is going to be 29, if I knew back in the day some of the things that we say as parents
Mm.
make a mark. The little things, even though you might have been just joking around, when you look at it, it's like, you know what? Knowing now, I probably wouldn't have said that. I was just kidding. But
Exactly.
kids can take things with them for the rest of their lives,
Yeah,
and who knows? This child, you could hear a comment. This child could hear a comment. Both will internalize it very differently later in
absolutely.
life. Yeah. Uh,
Absolutely.
Priselma, how do we find you? How do we connect with you?
Go to www.parenting911.org. You can set up a strategy session with me or see the courses and different services that we provide.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank you. You have been amazing.
Oh, you have. And even I'm going to take with me all of this, but also the 99.99 years old. It goes to illustrate that, every second does count in your life.
It really does.
And
It does. We have 936 weeks, remember, but from the time they're born until the time they turn 18, 936 weeks.
love, I said that to my son when you said that about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Because he
Yes.
just turned 18. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my word.
I did.
Yeah.
You had said that, and I remembered that. And I just, in some kind of conversation in a text, I had said that. Little things you pick up. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
We're coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.